Many times, what we need to do is just pause and analyze ourselves to see if in any way we have contributed to the men in our lives and how they behave. I told you of the story, it was last week, when in the days when my daughter was in high school, living in Jamaica, going to high school. And on a weekend, she would just let her hair down. She would be blasting the music. Her door would be closed, but I can stay across the living room. My bedroom is on the other side of the house. And I could hear, even behind closed doors, her music blaring. And I remembered one morning in particular, I was just upset with the loud music, and I charged from my bedroom across the living room, ready to burst her door open and with blood in my eyes say to her, "Shut that down now. It is too loud." But as I got closer to her door, I stopped, and the voice said to me, "But when you were not even in high school, past high school, because I used to have my radio in high school all the time, always pretending to be an announcer, listening to Marie Garth, listening to Don Toppin, pretending, introducing music and back announcing music, pretending because I wanted to be in radio. I used to do that. And even beyond school, when I was finished with school, I would be blasting that radio and singing the songs that were being played. And my grandmother used to always shout at me to turn down the radio, turn down the volume. And so as I got to my daughter's room, I paused and I said, but that's what you used to do. That is what you used to do. So what did I do? Instead of bursting her door open, I knocked and I went in and I said, "Hey, it's a bit loud. Can you turn it down a bit?" She said, "Okay, mommy," and she did. Chances are I would have adverse reaction if I had blasted into that room and said, "Turn it down," or if I had turned it down on my own. She would have to, because I'm her mother, she'd have to listen. She was under my roof, but the reaction, I'm sure, wouldn't be the same. And so what is it I'm saying? Many times we are the ones who are not listening to the men in our lives when they behave in a certain way, when they're not showing up and taking the responsibility that they have to. What I want us women or adult, it could be other men too. What I want us to do with the men, the sons, the husbands, the significant others, the uncles, the male cousins in our lives, when we see them acting in a certain way, not living up to the responsibility, not shouldering the burden, not taking the forefront and acting, leading in their families and leading as they should, what we really should do is take a pause and say, have I contributed in any way to this man in my life behaving the way that he does, not taking on his responsibility, not behaving in a mature and a responsible manner? Have I contributed? And if you're truthful to yourself, if you're honest, it probably would take you back to the days when you said to your son or your brother or your cousin or mothers saying it to their sons, "Aren't you a man? Kind of foolishness is bawling, bawling, bawling." Eh? Or even if it's a child, "Stop your foolishness. Too soft. Boys don't cry. You have to be tough." Think and see if you have been guilty of that. And then if the answer is yes, then you're going to realize that you have contributed significantly to the silence that they adopt in their lives as they grow up, to the fact that they are silent when it comes to talking about certain things. They don't even go to the doctor. They don't even do what they're expected to do because they are struggling They are fighting, they are suffering in silence. And you're not seeing the anxiety that they're experiencing. You're not seeing the panic as they go through. You are not experiencing the depression because they're even afraid to say it because of what will come out of your mouth. What is going to come out of your mouth is not an assurance or affirmation. Hmm? It's not going to be that. It's going to be, you're a man. What do you expect? So, with June being Men's Health Month, with focus on the mental health of the man, I want us as women and other men too, because the men, you say this to your sons, and chances are it's as a result of it being said to you while you were growing up. I want us all to take check. I want us all to encourage the men in our lives, whatever part they play. Yes, whoever they are, whether they're our sons or husbands or boyfriends or uncles, male cousins. I want you to change your disposition about them. I want you to help them to trust you more. I want you to affirm them more. I want you to help them to understand that they can talk to you. And when they do talk to you, I want you to be that listening ear. I want you to really listen actively to them. And I want you to give the understanding nods. I want you to help them to understand that you appreciate them coming to you, talking to you, and you offer some value, some practical value to them. Ask questions. Listen without trying to fix. Some of you listen to respond. You don't listen to understand and them to respond with understanding. It's time we stop that. Many of us are the ones who are causing the challenge in the lives of our men. And I say that without any apology. Teachers, you do that to your male students as well. Women, you do that to your husbands, the male in your life. Women, you do that to your sons. Men, you do that to your sons. Girls, boys, you do that to your brothers. And it's time that you stop that. And for the 5 days in June, including today, and with June being Men's Health Month, particularly their mental health, I want us to use the remaining days to take charge of the situation and to offer the men the help that they need. All right? Because after a time, with you behaving the way you do against them without even realizing, because you think you're helping them to be tough and to hold it together and to wise up because you're a man, you're a boy, you're going to grow up to be a man. Stop behaving like a sissy. Stop it. I remember, who was it who was interviewed, who said he deliberately spoke in the Jamaican language because if a man in his community spoke English, they would be known as gay or sissy. So him just end up as, oh, me, I am man, me not do that, me not do that. No, he can't say, I'm not going to do that. Which man speaks English? And it is true. And that's how some of them grew up. And so they deliberately behaved in a certain way because of the pressure being placed on them. And what it eventually leads to is the stress, the suppressed emotions. I can't say, listen, I am feeling as if I'm going out of my mind. So they're not able to make two ends meet in the family. And the woman doesn't assure, okay, let's sit and talk about this. Let's see how we can work on this together. No, you're a man and you're supposed to do this and do that. So he stays away, he stays silent. And so son and daughter don't have daddy to speak to them or to listen to them because daddy is now not living as a daddy. He's now in a shell. And so he is silent or he distances himself. Many times it's not that they want to, but it's because of the pressure that we place on them. For the rest of this month, June being Men's Health Month, for the rest of this month, please, women, mothers, wives, men too, because you do that to your sons and you do that to your brethren as well. Man on man, and they live with the stigma. And so what happens is the stress, it comes, the burnout comes, the suppressed emotions come, the broken relationships come because I can't measure up. And sometimes the not knowing how to behave, the physical abuse comes. And people will say, but you don't have to do that. But then if he is not the man, I'm not taking up for them, not in this way at all. But you have to understand that some persons, if they're not affirmed, then they can't get help. They're not going to receive the help. If they're only receiving the battering and the blows, they don't know any other way to react. They can't give what they don't have. And although it's inexcusable, the physical abuse, but we have to find out how have we contributed to this and seek help for the man, the boy, the son, the uncle, the brother, the male cousin, the boyfriend. We have a lot to do to contribute to their well-being. And I want us to start thinking of that. When they're not affirmed, when they're not celebrated, when they're not helped, then we end up with the distractions, the smoking, the drinking. And with that, you lose your mind. You're not in a sober mind. You're not in your right mind. You drink and you lose your right mind. You drink a lot excessively and you lose the sober mind. That's why the Bible can't lie. It talks about these things. And so when you don't have that, when you're not in your sober mind, you do all kinds of things. So the addictions come, the withdrawal syndrome comes. Instead of seeking help, they withdraw. And many fathers and brothers and sons and partners are carrying pain in silence. And what we do is we contribute to that by looking at their withdrawal, their silence, their disappearance, and we quarrel about that instead of saying, okay, talk to me. What's up? What's going on? I notice you're distant. I notice you're not talking. What's up? Talk. I want to help. That's the kind of argument that you should have. Not worthless. You don't even talk to your children. We don't even see you. That is what they're met with. And we don't go beyond that to see, okay, so why are they distant? Why are they not talking? Why are they not living up to this? Sometimes he can't even make ends meet. The salary that he's receiving isn't enough to measure up. And you can all say, well, he went out there and have 3, 4, 5 children. Yeah, so that also contributes to it. Talk to the man, talk to your son, talk to your brother, talk to your uncle, talk to your male cousin, and say, okay, I notice X, Y, Z. How can I help? Talk to me. I'm listening. And when you say you're listening, listen, listen actively. And then afterwards, don't beat down. Don't react adversely. Say, okay, all right, we have a challenge here. How can we work this out? How can I help? What is it that I can do? Start doing that. This is June, 5 days in June, including today. Men's Health Month, highlighting mental health. Do that. Do that for the men in our lives. Okay, do that. Another thing is men don't go to doctor because they're afraid. Encourage them to do that. Encourage them to do that test for prostate cancer. And all the thing about no want any man come feel up and all those silly things they say, encourage them. Let them know you have to go through the pap smear. It's invasive, but you have to do it. Why? Because you want to be healthy. Early detection. We want to get things going early. We want to know early. And so You talk to them like that. So promise that the men in your life, you're going to start listening, you're going to start affirming, you're going to assure, you're going to reassure. If you're noticing certain things about them, don't use the quarrel method, but use the talk to me. I notice you're distant. I notice you're behaving in a certain way. What's going on? I want to know. I want to help. Please do it that way because many times, whether we realize it or not, we contribute to how our men are. We do. So let's flip the script. Let's change. Let's change. Let's have that shift in our own lives and see how best we can help the men. And once we do that, listen, trust me, we will have that change. Might not happen overnight, but if you are willing, if you really love that man in your life, your brother, your husband, your cousin, your uncle, if you really do, your son, you're going to make the effort. You're not going to see them die. You're not going to see them lose their minds. You're going to contribute to their mental health. You're going to help them with a doctor. You are going to help them to do the exercise, to have someone that they can talk to. You're going to do all of that for the sake of our men, for helping them to be who they really are supposed to be. As the Bible says, the prophets, the priests, and the kings in the household of our lives, taking the leadership that they should take. Hmm? So stop beating them down, help them instead.